Yes, good old TJ.
Konnichiwa, Neo Squad, your boy Enkidu. Back with another reaction video. And today, you guys, we are doing a video on OTAKUDAIKUN's channel. I think that, I believe this YouTuber that made this video. It is called Days or Dies. It's like too dramatic to say it. Simple Guide to Fate, Part 1, Where to Start. So, yeah, we're doing Part 1 right now, and we're gonna have another video where we're gonna be doing Part 2. Like I say, part 2 of this what you call it, this Fate video, Simple Guide to Fate. Yeah, so you got Simple Guide to Fate part 1, and then we got Simple Guide to Fate part 2. So we're gonna do part 1 right now, and then we're gonna do part 2 after this video. So without further ado, guys, before we can get to this, like, subscribe on the video. If you guys are recommended to came over here and got recommended to my videos, come over here and subscribe to the channel. We do daily, not daily, because we do weekly uploads. So basically almost every other day we do uploads on this channel. Yeah, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I know guys are gonna want consistent content, what you guys are gonna get. Also as well, if you don't be on YouTube a lot, go ahead and go follow the Facebook page. Like I say, link is down below. And also go follow my Twitch page and everything like that. Also as well, guys, hit the bell notification. Make sure you click all so so you can be notified to make a future upload. Alright, guys, so this video is 17 minutes long. Let's get right into it. So play.
Let this video serve as your one-stop shop for getting into the Fate franchise, with tips on how to start, as well as understanding some of the underlying lore that makes experiencing any part of the series much easier.
Oh, okay, I was right. OTAKUDAIKUN. Okay.
Welcome back to OTAKUDAIKUN.
I think we did some of his videos already.
Let me say that my YouTube channel already has a ton of videos explaining the lore of this franchise, but none of them have been exclusively designed for newcomers. And while other
I like when people do like this
guides,
animated version of themselves. They do the
my
videos.
own.
It's pretty cool.
The first section of this guide will talk about Fate's various releases, giving you an understanding of how to start and navigate the franchise. The second will be a hyper-basic, yet comprehensive lore of the franchise that spoils just a bit in favor of making it much easier to understand.
Boy, Gil, you know what I'm saying?
The first section if you don't want spoilers, but I must admit, I wish I had this knowledge going in. Overall, the Fate franchise is a series of works consisting of sequels, parodies, prequels, and spin-offs of the original 2004 visual novel Fate Stay Night. They all tell stories about masters and servants competing in what's called the Holy Grail War, each with their own twists on the formula. While it makes most sense to start with Fate Stay Night, you can technically jump into any of the other works if you prefer.
So 2004 is okay.
No matter where you start, you'll wind up with questions that get answered by experiencing other parts of the series. There are pros and cons to each work,
that's
and if
definitely
you really
facts,
enjoy
though.
them, you'll eventually see them all. The other thing to understand is that every work in the franchise is canon, because each one is its own alternate reality. It's a multiverse, after all, just like you can see with Marvel Comics. You could read the Iron Man comics, then watch the movies, and even though they have their own continuity, each one is valid relative to its own timeline.
Right? I was gonna say other than Marvel, but like Final Fantasy is same with too.
Rather than saying one is more canon than the other, it's easiest to just acknowledge that there are different versions of any given story. This makes perfect sense for Fate, considering it started as a visual novel with branching narratives and various endings. So yeah, it's all canon, with each narrative taking place on a different timeline. So, even if you can start practically anywhere, I'll admit that it's probably easiest to start with the main Stay Night timeline, which consists of Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night, and Fate Hollow Ataraxia. Purists will obviously recommend you start with the visual novel, and for good reason. It's the original vision for the story, with by far the most amount of detail.
Free plot routes, anime and manga must be played via fan
every
patch.
relevant detail you'll get by starting at the source. There are two problems with this method, though. First, the visual novel is incredibly long, and not necessarily paced to keep you in the action. There are tons of slice-of-life moments in there that may unintentionally turn off newcomers. That, and to this day, the visual novel still doesn't have an official English release, which means you're going to be sailing the high seas. Still, it's not that hard to obtain. The current version of the visual novel, Rialta Nua for Windows, is actually no longer on sale even in Japan, so there's literally no way to officially purchase it even if you wanted to. I've got info on how to get it in the video description. The other thing you'll need is the English patch hosted on the
Can
Type Moon
YouTube it up?
forum Beast's Lair. It's called the Ultimate Edition and can also be found in the description. This is most certainly the definitive way to experience Fate Stay Night, as it combines the adult content from the original release with the updated content from the Rialta Nua version, such as the highly coveted last episode, which is an epilogue to Saber's route. Now, not everyone's going to want or be able to go that far. It's a large time investment, and some of you lack the opportunity to sit at a Windows computer for hours on end. Thankfully, you can watch recordings of the entire thing here on YouTube. In particular, I have archived live streams of all of Fate Stay Night and Hollow Ataraxia you can watch, though it does have my commentary. There also exist no commentary runs that you can search out. Obviously, this is the purest way to get started, but truthfully, visual novels just aren't everyone's cup of tea. Even though Fate Stay Night is especially well made, with plenty of action and movement, it can't possibly stand up to some of the amazing animation that's been released since then. Because of this, I think starting with the anime is just as valid. That said, visual novels
I like the way you
and
said
anime
that.
often don't mix as well
I thought you
because of
said anime.
structure. The visual novel has 3 different plot routes, each with different endings and a slew of deaths. There's no way to pack all of that information into a single anime, but we're in a rather glorious time because all 3 plot routes have been more or less animated as standalone releases. If you want to experience Saber's route, also called the Fate route, you can do so by watching the 2006 anime by Studio Dean. It's not the best adaptation, as it tries to cram in parts of the other routes into the story, but it does hit the important story beats. The second route, Unlimited Blade Works, was adapted into a series by Ufotable. This is a gorgeous anime that really does the visual novel justice.
It is gorgeous.
In fact, it's in part thanks to Ufotable that Fate is as popular as it is today. There also exists a theatrical adaptation of this route by Studio Dean, and while it's fun to watch, it really fails at trying to condense hours of narrative into a single movie. At this point, all it's good for is serving as a highlight reel of the route's fight scenes, but ever since Ufotable did such a great job on their adaptation, you can likely skip the Unlimited Blade Works movie altogether. As for the final route, Heaven's Feel, that just got animated by Ufotable in the form of a movie trilogy. At the time of me writing this video, the final film has been out in Japan for some time.
Brand new.
It's getting theater screenings in English during November. The one piece of the visual novel you'll be missing is the Rialta Nua last episode, which has yet to be released in an animated form. Well, scratch that actually. Turns out Ufotable did animate this epilogue, but right now it can only be watched by visiting Type Moon's museum in Japan. Honestly, I'd sacrifice a nut to get my hands on that. Anyway, the one thing I want to clarify is that when I refer to plot routes, I'm referring to
he did
different
not
ways
just say
the
that
Holy
though.
Grail War could have gone down. They all start from the same point, but branch off to tell completely different stories. So right from the beginning, there never was just one story called Fate Stay Night, and none of the game's plot routes are considered to be the canon ending. Again, they're all valid according to their own timelines. I get a lot of questions from people who watch only one of the anime and are confused when what they remember doesn't match what I'm talking about in one of my lores. The reason is that there are different versions of the story depending on which route you take. This is made abundantly clear in the visual novel sequel, Fate Hollow Ataraxia, which is technically a sequel to all 3 routes combined. As of right now, Hollow Ataraxia only exists as a visual novel.
Hollow
You can find links to
Ataraxia.
it, as well as English voice and decensor patches in the description, because again, this never got an official English release. If you'd prefer, I also streamed the entire novel for you to watch on my channel. Admittedly, that stuff's all a tad complicated, and one
Might
of the
wanna
reasons
watch
Fate
those.
really got popular was when Ufotable
Let's see if I don't get no
animated the light
copyright strike
novel
against my
Fate
channel.
Zero,
I might actually
which
wanna watch
serves as
those.
the prequel to Fate Stay Night. Some purists don't recommend starting with this one because it spoils parts of Stay Night, but I personally feel it's a fantastic way to start the franchise. Unlike the other works, Zero is a single narrative that can be lovingly experienced in its light novel form or via fantastic manga and anime adaptations. There are pros and cons to starting here too, though. While it does give away some spoilers for Stay Night, I also feel like it provides proper context and build-up that actually make parts of Stay Night even better. Experiencing both Stay Night and Zero, either through anime or novel, will give you a solid foundation to easily jump anywhere in the franchise. So let me just give a brief rundown of what those works are. Let's start with Carnival Phantasm. This one's a parody anime with comedic skits based on both the Fate and Tsukihime series.
I'm about to say, with a name like
It's totally
Carnival,
fine to
that thing
watch
it's
if
gonna
you
be
haven't read
playful if you're gonna have
Tsukihime,
Carnival in
since
the
most of
name.
it is
Some
still
way.
Fate-oriented. There's no major story to worry about, but the jokes won't land if you aren't aware of Stay Night. While Hollow Ataraxia has yet to be adapted, The closest thing we do have is the anime and manga Emiya-san Shi no Kyo no Gohan, or today's menu for the Emiya family. It's a cute slice of life that, like Hollow Ataraxia, happens after Stay Night as though all the routes combined into one. Again, it doesn't tell any huge narrative, but it helps to understand Stay Night so you can understand what
Saber just gotta go serious though in the volleyball,
to see them happy together. Placed between Stay Night and Zero is the anime El Malloy Case Files. It follows what happens to Waver, a character from Zero, after the Fourth Holy Grail War. Technically,
I'm about to say, 'cause
El
that's
Malloy
all.
Case Files is a series of 10 light novels, many of which you
That's
can
something
find
that's
fan
completely different of it,
translations
like the
The anime only adapts one of these volumes,
title,
so you'll have to
like-
do some reading to get the full story.
wouldn't even think that's
More
even
serious is
anything to do with the
spin-off
Fate series.
Fate Apocrypha. It's an alternate timeline that branches
Right.
off from the one in Stay Night, where earlier on, events deviate so
I watched
that the
that
Fourth
one.
Holy Grail War never happens. Instead, there's a great Holy Grail War between two factions of masters and servants. It's a light novel that
Red
also
and Black.
has an anime
Red and Black.
adaptation. I personally love the anime, and feel it does a solid job covering the story, even with some minor differences. Another major spin-off is Fate Collide Liner Prisma Ilia. It's based around one of the central characters, Ilia, getting her own entirely different narrative. It's another alternate reality, where the Grail War technically
Never knew about
happens,
this.
and Ilia instead becomes a magical girl to stop malicious servants manifesting from cards. While kinda silly, this story has gotten rather complex, with a prequel that takes itself much more seriously. Most of the story has been animated, including the prequel movie, Oath Under Snow, but the manga it's based on is still being written. The same goes for Fate Extra. It's a much crazier spin-off in which the Holy Grail War takes place inside a computer on the moon. Originally, it was a game on the PlayStation Portable that's never been ported, but it's now being remade for modern platforms. It had a sequel on the PSP called Fate Extra CCC, which essentially added new plot routes to the original Extra game.
Oh, see, that's
The
what I was
series
like.
continued
I've
in
never
the
seen
form
these
of a
games.
Muso
It's like no
game,
official
Fate Extella,
localization.
and its sequel, Fate Extella Link. While you can play the original Extra and the two Muso games in English, CCC never got translated. The only solution English speakers have to experience it is to watch a translation of it on YouTube.
I
But even
got
then,
the
it only
Fate
covers one of the
Extella
game's
link.
various routes.
Oh, no
As if
offense,
to
as
make
I'm
things
gonna
even
react
more
to that.
complicated, CCC has a spin-off manga called Foxtail that is still being published. As a devilish cherry on top, Nasu, the series creator, put out an anime called Fate Extra Last Encore, which isn't a straight-up adaptation of the original Extra, but rather a complicated reboot of sorts that only makes sense if you've already played the first game. I'd like to say that Extra is by far the most intimidating of all the Fate works, because it all hinges upon you playing a game that had a limited release on a now defunct console. That
Wow,
said, there's lots to
that's
love about it,
trash.
but I doubt you'll
So if I
regret the
didn't play that
experience.
adaptation
Just
of
do
that game,
not
I wouldn't
start
really
with
get.
Last Encore.
I see, I don't like
The
stuff
further
like
we go,
that.
the more obscure things get. 3 of the harder to access works in the franchise are Fate Prototype, Fate Strange Fake, and Fate Requiem. Strange Fake and Requiem are both ongoing light novels in Japan, with limited English
I heard of
fan
Requiem. I never
translations.
heard of Strange
Like
Fake.
Apocrypha,
Never heard of
they
that.
tell the story of Grail Wars that have vastly different rules and separate realities. I personally feel like trying to read these should be a last resort, unless you can actually read Japanese, in which case I hear they're very good. Prototype is quite bizarre. Basically, Type Moon had a very different version of what Fate Stay Night would look like during development. A lot of the characters had different designs, and it took place in a different location. Because of this, Type Moon, the company making all these works, decided to release their vision for Prototype in the form of a big trailer, showing us what could have been. A lot of fans liked it, and from that curiosity came Fate Prototype Fragments of Sky Silver, a light novel that serves as the prequel to a story that technically has never been fully
Is
told.
that Saber?
Again, to experience this, you'll need to scour the internet
Yep.
for fan translations.
Yes.
It's worth noting that most of these works have manga adaptations as well. They're fantastic, sometimes adding in details that were too spicy to be animated. All of these different works more or less exist according to separate universes, yet one work pays homage to all of them. Fate Grand Order, by far the most prolific and profitable.
That
piece of the
game is
franchise,
so
tells a
lit,
story
based
about
on what I've
mages
been
going
reacting
to
to.
alternate times and timelines, meeting an enormous ensemble of servants in an effort to save all of humanity.
Of course, the English version
It has
always
its
gonna be
own
behind.
story, which is itself
Always.
a branch off of the main Stay Night timeline, but it also incorporates collaboration events from other works, uniting them into a single story. While the mobile game has been released in English, and is still coming out to this day, it can't be played outside of Japan, North America, or other select countries. That said, if you want to
that's tragic.
experience the story, I've also been live streaming every major story event in the game, so if you can't play it, you can at least watch it. FGO being free to play with gacha
Oh,
elements.
I probably
has
can
become
react to that if you guys
extremely
want me to do
popular,
that.
such
I
that
react to
select
when he
parts
plays
of
the
story
stories.
have been adapted into anime and
Cool.
manga. The beginning section of the story was animated into Fate Grand Order, First Order. One of the more popular segments, Camelot, is being turned into a set of animated movies, while the Babylonia arc has an entire
about
series
that.
to itself.
Watch
In
that.
addition to some OVAs, there's also an adaptation of the Solomon finale in the works. Most of these you really shouldn't watch unless you're familiar with the game already, because they take place rather deep into the narrative. That said, FGO is the main attraction for the franchise now, and odds are you'll be experiencing it in some form sooner or later. With all of that broken down, I'm going to give my personal recommendation for how to experience the Fate series. It's by no means definitive, and I'm sure some
lay it
people
on
will
me, let me
disagree
see.
with me, but this method is meant to be the easiest and most
Talk to
accessible.
me nicely.
To start off, watch either Fate Zero or the Unlimited Blade Works anime, not the movie.
Unlimited Blade Works
These
is
two anime
so
are
good.
so well made,
Unlimited
they're
Blade Works
guaranteed
anime is
to
so
excite
good.
you. If you don't enjoy these, you're not likely
So
going to
good.
enjoy the rest of the franchise. Whichever one you start with, go ahead and follow up with the other. If you're still interested in knowing what happens in Saber or Sakura's routes, you can then watch the 2006 anime and the Heaven's Feel movies, or dive full on into the visual novel. If by now you've fallen in love with the characters and want to see more, definitely check out Hollow Ataraxia, Carnival Phantasm, and today's menu for the Emiya family. If you really enjoy Fate's portrayal of Magecraft, as well as Waver, proceed to watch El Malloy Case Files or read its light novels. If you want to see Elia in a more optimistic light,
I don't know
or
why I
if you
just
have
can
a
never
strong
just read
attachment to
like
Shiro,
manga or
go ahead
novels.
and
I
watch
don't know.
Glidliner Prisma
Like some stuff
Elia,
animated.
and of course Oath Under
Leave me comments down
Snow.
below. What do you guys
A
think
lot
about
of those
that?
are optional. If
Mangas
you've
are
at least
animated.
seen Zero and Unlimited Blade Works, you're free to branch into whatever you wish, including Fate Grand Order. If you get far enough into the game, go ahead and watch First Order and Babylonia because they're awesome. You'll likely run into references of the other Fate franchises, so if you want a better understanding, go ahead and watch Apocrypha, and if you can get your hands on them, play Fate Extra, Extella, and Extella Link. Now, if you've gotten this far, chances are you're no longer in need of a video like this. You're probably invested enough in the franchise that you'll seek out those more obscure works like Fate Extra CCC, Foxtail, Prototype, Requiem, and Strange Fake all on your own. If you're really invested, you'll be impatient waiting for FGO to release its content in English, and you'll be on the front lines experiencing the Japanese release as it comes out. And that's my guide to the various Fate works themselves.
This is a good
Thanks
video.
for watching. If you enjoy this channel, help me be.
Yeah, this is really good. I forgot we did some of his videos like a long time ago. It was probably like I think like 3-4 months ago now. Since we did a OTAKUDAIKUN video, was doing like the fate lore on like the different characters, and he was like explaining with like the cards like falling down on the screen. I remember we did these like a while ago. But yeah, guys, you guys want me to react to more of OTAKUDAIKUN's videos? Like you said, do you like anime? Of course I like anime. You guys like me react to anime, so if you guys want me to react to anything else on this channel, let me know. I can definitely do that. And like I said, we're gonna be doing part 2 right after this video right now. So we're gonna end it off right there. Let's just get right into part 2, guys. So let's end this off. Like, share, subscribe on the video. Like I said before, hit the bell notification. Make sure you click all so the notify to make a future upload. Go follow the Twitch page. Go follow all the other links here about down below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'm out, guys. Peace.